Now common knowledge that our welfare system has itself become a poverty trap, a creator and reinforcer of dependency.
We should be able to craft a bold new direction in welfare reform, and we should be able to start the move from dependency to independency.
I don't want to make people's lives better by giving them somebody else's money.
The amount of government dependency in this country is just way too high, period.
It's their constituents, a lot of them, that in some of these inner cities that's going to need SNAP to survive. A lot of young men that are on SNAP that should be working.
Joining us now, Massachusetts Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley. She serves on the Oversight Committee, the Financial Services Committee, and is part of the Progressive Caucus. Congresswoman, it's great to have you back on the show. Let me get your response to what we just played there from Republicans about the dependency of those that are on SNAP. I mean, what do you make of that assessment that the current cuts to food stamps, favors a certain part of the Democratic base more so than others?
Yeah, those weren't dog whistles; those were bullhorns, and grossly inaccurate. Again, for SNAP, we're talking about $2 a day per meal, so that's $6 a day. 42 million people in this country.
Well, family, look, man, it's not even a secret anymore. The welfare system in this country is just broken. It's not just broken; it's backwards. It's like we built a system that's supposed to help people get out the mud, but instead it keeps them stuck in the mud, hands tied, waist deep. Like giving a man a crutch and telling them never to walk again. Right? And that's what we're dealing with. And I'm not saying help is bad. I'm not saying people don't need assistance. But what I am saying is the way the system is built right now, it is creating dependency and not independence. And that's facts. Like imagine you're in quicksand. The government hands you a rope. Cool, right? But instead of pulling you out, they just tie you to a tree and let you hang there forever, just above the danger, but never safe, never on your feet. That's how welfare works for a lot of folks. And then people start depending on it because the system punishes you. It punishes you if you try to do better. And you make one extra dollar and then boom, you lose benefits. So try to get a second job, boom, they cut your housing. It's a trap. It's like climbing a ladder where the higher you go, the more the rungs break off beneath you. And then you got politicians, mostly on the right, talking about how we need bold reform. And they're not wrong. I'm talking about Republicans. They're not wrong. They're saying, yo, too many people are dependent on this system and they're getting flamed for it like it's a hate crime. So we need people to be self-sufficient. But here's the kicker. It's their constituents too. Red state, blue state, purple state. Everybody got people struggling. Inner cities, rural towns, trailer parks, urban neighborhoods. It don't discriminate. Poverty don't care about your zip code, your skin color, or who you voted for. It's just poverty. And a majority of people, when they live beyond their means, which majority of Americans do, and people that want to leave these American dream thinking that their home is an asset when it's really a shelter and it's something to lay your head and actually have a roof over your head. But a lot of people think when they get a house, it's an investment. Where you live at is not an investment if you're paying bills because it's a liability, right? And a lot of people are house poor because they buy more house than they need. But not to get off topic, but let's talk about SNAP, right? The Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, aka food stamps. That program right now got 42 million Americans on it. 1 in 8, that's wild. And most of the people on it, they're either kids, elderly, or disabled. Like 79% of households on SNAP fall into that category. So we ain't just talking about people just milking the system for fun, but let's not act like everybody on SNAP is in that situation either. There are people, especially young, able-bodied men, who are on these benefits and should be working. Let's just keep it a buck. Now, enter the spicy alert. We got illegal immigration. But before I get to the illegal immigration part, I actually want to play this video, and then I'll give more of my commentary, and I want to get you guys' thoughts down in the comments below.
Them to get a little bit of pressure. I mean, just Hakeem Jeffries' district alone, 43% of households in his district are dependent on SNAP. And he's the one blocking SNAP from moving forward. I want you to look at some of these numbers. 42 million Americans are on SNAP, so that's 1 in 8. 73% of SNAP households that are at or below poverty level. 79% of SNAP households include children or seniors or disabled people. And the average household benefit is about $332. Also, Brooke, you've said this before, and I think it's really interesting. You said some of the silver lining is we're getting to look a little bit behind the SNAP program. So we know that 20% of illegals are on SNAP and that 59% of households headed by illegals use SNAP or some other multiple welfare programs. Talk to us about that as well.
Well, a couple of things. There's been a lot of miscommunication out there on the program. But this is one of the first things we did when I walked in the day one of USDA, February 13th, is we sent letters to every governor in America being very clear that no illegal aliens can use SNAP. 0, 0, 0. We asked every state for the first time in history, and this was in February, to send us their data and let us, with DOJ and a war room, actually start going through this data to better understand how this explosion of SNAP benefits happened under Joe Biden. We increased almost 40% on this program in just a couple of years under the Biden administration. Of course, we know they were trying to buy the election, but that's a conversation for another time. And since we have asked for that data, 29 states have complied. Of course, almost all the red states, a couple of couple blue states too. But in that data, and I haven't talked about this yet publicly, in that data we've studied about $100 billion in spend. We have found thousands and thousands of illegal use of the EBT card. We have been moving people off of SNAP. We've got almost 700,000 people, I think, we've moved off just since the president took office. We've arrested about 118 people. So this has been ongoing. But Rachel, to your point, what this conversation has allowed is a national spotlight on a broken and corrupt program. We found one guy in 6 different states getting a benefit. We found about 5,000 people that are dead who are still getting benefits. Like, it is time to drastically reform this program so that we can make sure that those who are truly needy, truly vulnerable, are getting what they need, and the rest of the corruption goes away and we can serve the American taxpayer.
Common sense, right? Common sense. But yeah, when you look at the illegal immigration, because we're going there, because here's what's happening that the media won't want to talk about. Illegal immigrants, yes, technically they're not supposed to be eligible for benefits like SNAP or Medicaid, and that's the official narrative. But in reality, it's all loopholes, all the workarounds. They've been getting it anyway. That's the cold truth. For example, if you're an undocumented immigrant has a child in the U.S., that child is now a U.S. citizen. Legally, right? Boom. Eligibility unlocked. Now, moms can get SNAP for the kid, and through that, benefits extend to the household. That's how the game is played. It's not no magic trick, just policy loopholes. In blue states, especially ones like California and New York, they create this entire state-level program that basically mimic federal benefits just so they can get around the restrictions. So when people say illegals don't get welfare, technically true, functionally false. They do get it. They just get it sideways. But don't take my word for it. Check this out.
Attorney General Tish James has filed a lawsuit challenging the Trump administration's demands of personal information from people on SNAP benefits. Political reporter Marcia Kramer has this story.
Undocumented immigrants, who are among the 3 million New Yorkers who receive federal food assistance under the SNAP program, are reportedly in danger of being targeted by the Trump administration under new rules now being challenged by a coalition led by attorneys general in New York, California, and Michigan on behalf of officials in 22 states. New Jersey has joined the suit on behalf of its more than 824,000 SNAP recipients.
This administration is attempting to use this program as a tool in their cruel and chaotic targeting of immigrants. It is outrageous.
Now, mind you, this is the same woman that's getting in trouble and get held accountable for committed mortgage fraud. I just want to put that out there.
And chaotic
Attorney General of New York.
Of immigrants. It is outrageous. It is unacceptable.
The suit challenges what officials say is a new requirement that low-income families turn over a raft of personal information, including immigration status for the past 5 years, in order to get benefits. Tish James says it's illegal and is being
illegally used to hunt down immigrants and their families.
More than 40 million people nationwide rely on SNAP benefits. 2.9 million are in New York, and of those 1.8 million, 61% are in New York City. They received $7.35 billion last year. The suit, filed in the Northern District of California, is seeking court judgment to declare the policy illegal and prevent its enforcement. Under the program, immigrants who are citizens can receive SNAP benefits. Non-citizens can apply for SNAP benefits for their children who are born here and have birthright citizenship. Immigrant rights experts say it's another attempt at expanded surveillance.
They're trying to utilize every single federal database to further their mass family separation and mass deportation agenda.
Asked about the suit, a spokesperson for the Department of Justice issued a terse no comment.
And Marcia joins us now in studio. Marcia, I'm curious how the mayor feels about this suit.
Well, a spokesperson for the mayor told me that the mayor supports the action and is trying to review his options how best to support what happened.
So I'm also told that the mayor actually filed another lawsuit, though, today against the Trump administration. What's that about?
Well, so apparently the mayor joined 13 other local governments in trying to prevent the government from stripping what they call TPS, temporary protective status, from people who came here from Nicaragua.
All right, family. But listen, I'm not saying that undocumented immigrants don't struggle. I'm not saying they ain't human. But what I am saying is, why are we prioritizing them over American citizens? Especially working class folks who've been paying taxes, playing by the rules, and still can't get help because they make a couple $100 too much. And that's what makes people snap. Now, fast forward, right? The Trump administration come through and they say, yo, we going to investigate this, right? We going to investigate this. We want data. Show us who's getting what. And guess what happens? Red states start complying. Blue states, they start suing. Why? Well, if everything is above board, why fight transparency? Why are you trying to keep the federal government from seeing who's receiving benefits? Maybe because, just maybe, they don't want the public knowing how many undocumented folks are on these programs. Because if we did, it would blow the lid off of the whole operation. And now, don't get me wrong. Trump ain't a saint. He's not a saint. But the idea that we should clean up fraud in the system shouldn't be controversial. The fact that it's controversial tells you everything. Think about this. They found people getting benefits in 6 different states. They found one person, she said, get benefits in 6 different states. One person. They found 5,000 dead people, as you heard her say, still getting EBT. That's taxpayer money. Your money. My money. Our money. And yet, if you say, yo, let's make sure only the people who actually need help are getting it, they call you cruel. They say it's racist. They say you're attacking the poor. Nah, fam, we just don't want the system to be a scam. And that brings us to the core issue. This whole welfare setup, unlimited immigration, it just equals disaster because you can't have an open door immigration policy in a giant welfare state. That's like trying to fill a swimming pool while the drain's wide open. It doesn't work. It's not sustainable. We're seeing it in real time. Inflation is going crazy. And it's not just because we printed money. That's part of it, yes. But when you flood a country with millions of undocumented immigrants and then hand out benefits like candy on Halloween, which just passed, happy belated Halloween to the folks watching this video, demand goes up without a machine increase in supply. I mean, without a matching increase in supply. That's what I mean, not machine. That means higher prices for everything. Housing, sky high. Food, through the roof. Healthcare, don't even get me started. Hospitals get underpaid by the government for treating undocumented folks who show up in ERs so they cost shift. They raise prices on everyone else. That's why your premiums for health insurance keep going up. That's why you pay $300 for an urgent care visit and 2 Tylenol. Because somebody else didn't pay anything and the system still needs to get paid, and the middle class ends up footing the bill again. And the wildest part is the people who are getting hit the hardest by all of this, it ain't the rich. It's regular folks. The single mom with 2 jobs who doesn't qualify for benefits. The guy making $400,000 a year who can't afford rent anymore. The family that used to live comfortably but now got to decide between groceries and gas. They are getting squeezed hard. And the government response, we need more programs. Bro, the programs are the problem. You can't put out a fire by pouring gasoline on it. So nah, it doesn't make you a bad person to say, hey, maybe we shouldn't subsidize people who broke our laws to get here. It doesn't make you heartless to say, hey, maybe work requirements for food stamps aren't cruel. They're common sense. It makes you rational and it makes you aware, because the truth is when everyone's on the system breaks. And when the system breaks, the only people who suffer are the people who don't have a backup plan. So here's the truth, raw and uncut. If we don't reform this welfare system and lock down our immigration policies, we ain't going to have a country left to argue over. Everything costs more, taxes keep rising, and the people who pay the most get the least. That's not justice. That's not progress. That's not sustainable. That's robbery straight up. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Hope you guys got some value from this video. If you did, get this video a big thumbs up. Spread that peace, love, and positivity as always. And as always, family, we just here to have a conversation. Peace.